Silence. It always begins with silence. Not the comforting silence of a quiet night, but the kind that feels wrong. The kind that seems to watch you. The kind that comes just before something that should never happen. In those days of harms across California, for years, that silence was the last warning before terror. For more than 4 decades, a man without a face, without a name, without official identity, walked freely among ordinary people. He was not a visible monster. He didn't live in the shadows. He didn't hide in dark alleys. He walked, greeted the neighbors, went shopping, maybe complained about gas prices, and at night he ended. The world would come to know him by many names. The East Area Rapist, the Origin Night Stalker, the Visalia Ransacker, but none of those names were who he truly was. Today, this story is not just about crimes. It is about time, impunity, human failure, silence, persistence, and one disturbing question: how many monsters exist only because we haven't yet found the right way to see them? If you are looking for a quick summary, this is not it. But if you want to understand how a mistake can last 40 years and how science finally broke the silence that stayed, because here every detail matters. In the 1970s, California lived a contradiction. On one side, prosperity, growth, new suburbs. On the other, a growing sense of vulnerability. Doors were located more often, windows checked twice. Still, it wasn't enough. At first, the pattern seemed too small to be terrifying. Homes ransacked, drawers opened, personal items moved, nothing stolen. Police called it vandalism, minor theft, teenage mischief, but something was wrong. There always was. The intruder didn't want money, he wanted control. The details was ignored, and it came at a terrible cost. When the crimes escalated into rape, though enforcement reacted too late, victims described the same man, a mask, a controlled voice, obsessive planning. He tied people up, watched them, threatened them. He didn't act on impulse, he rehearsed, and he realized the first human failure. We underestimate danger when it doesn't fit the stereotype. The Golden State Killer didn't seem desperate, he seems organized, and that made him less frightening when it should have made him more. What makes this case unique is not only the number of crimes, it is the evolution. He learned from every attack, he changed roses, changed schedules, changed method. When police closed him, he vanished and appeared in another city. This mobility confused investigation. Each department saw only a fragment of Basel. No one saw the whole picture. And here comes a hard but necessary criticism. Institutions fail when they don't share information. For years, the crimes were treated as isolated cases. Jurisdictions didn't communicate. Files weren't connected. Evidence is left in boxes. Meanwhile, he advanced. The crimes escalated. Rape became murder. Couples were attacked inside their homes. Men tied up. Women silenced. The homes, the last space of safety, was violated completely. At most disturbing of all, he called some victim years later, just to remind them he was still out there. This wasn't just psycho violence, it was psycho domination. By the 1980s, the trends went cold, and that created a dangerous illusion. People thought he had stopped it, that he was dead or imprisoned for another crime, but Bracetto like this rarely stopped it. They attacked. The case was archived, turned into statistics, a quiet failure, but for the victim, time never moved on. Trauma doesn't expire, fear doesn't age. And here is another uncomfortable truth. The system forgets faster than victim can heal. For decades, this man aged in freedom, watched the world change, watched the technology evolve. Without knowing, that technology would eventually betray him. DNA was always there, collected, stored, labeled, waiting, but science hadn't yet caught up with the crime until someone had a simple and evolutionary idea. What if DNA wasn't compared only to criminals? What if it was compared to families? Genealogies, databases used by ordinary people to trace their ancestry, became the key, not to accuse directly, but to narrow the circle. A distant relative, then another and another, until the final tightened. This moment changed everything, because this isn't just about technology. It is about human persistence. Investigators who refuse to accept forgetting as an answer. Finally, they watch it. And then a name emerged. When Joseph James D'Angelo was arrested, the shock didn't come from hearing his name. It came from seeing him. An old man, frail, a former police officer, no monstrous shower, no evil Claire. And that forces us to face an unsettling truth. Evil rarely looks the way we expect. He lived for decades protected by normality, and that says more about us than it does about him. How often do we associate danger with wrong appearance? How often do we ignore warning signs because it doesn't seem possible? When he finally answered for his crimes, there was no celebration. There was silence and tears. For some victims, the arrest brought relief. For others, anger. For many, questions that will never be answered. And perhaps this is the hardest lesson. Justice does not erase the past, it only prevents the future. This story is not only about killer, it is about the failures that allowed him to exist for so long. It is about science becoming the last voice of the victims. It is about memory. And above all, it is about attention. Because crimes like these do not survive only because of the cruelty of those who committed them. They survive because of collective distraction. If stories like this continue to be taught, it is not for morbid curiosity. It is for the vigilance. It is for respect for the victims. It is to ensure that silence is never again an accomplice. And if at any moment is this narrative you felt uncomfortable, then it did its job. Because the real danger is not in hearing these stories, it is forgetting them. If you believe real stories deserve to be taught with tact, humanity, and responsibility, stay attentive, because the next case may reveal not only crime, but a mirror of the society we live in. Silence only wins when no one is listening, and here we listen. Goodbye, see you next crime.